Today we're going to talk to you about the truth about credit scores, and all credit scores are not created equally. Once there was a man named Bob. Bob was a client of mine, and he applied for funding, and he was really disappointed when he found out that his actual credit score was lower than what he thought it was. He thought he had a 743 score, and it turned out, well, actually it was only a 665 credit score. What is the deal? How could it be that different? Where is he getting his information? Well, my friends, our good friends at Credit Karma offer what's called a VantageScore. And a VantageScore is a type of credit score, but it is not a FICO score. And so today we want to unpack, well, what's the difference between a FICO score and a VantageScore, and which of the two really matter? Well, at the end of the day, most of us get these free credit scores, from a Credit Karma, from all these different resources and fintech companies out there. And VantageScores, make you feel really good. Oh, my credit score is really high. I'm in great shape. I can go get the best financing I want. And then you actually go to qualify for financing, to fund a business, to get a mortgage, to buy a car, whatever the case may be. And unfortunately, you find out, well, actually, your credit score is not as high as that VantageScore. And why? What is the difference? Well, Vantage scoring uses different metrics. It's also a much more cheaper and affordable credit scoring system. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, does a Vantage score matter? And at the end of the day, unfortunately, I've got to say no. Vantage scoring models do not matter. They give you some sort of an idea where your score is, but it's not ever going to be a decision-making score. I don't know any significant lender, bank, credit union, public-private lending source in this country that makes decisions off of a Vantage scoring model because it's just not that accurate. What do they all use? They all use FICO Score, Fair Isaac Reporting. That is the name of the company, and the way that company works is how their credit score is calculated. And so about 35% of the score is based on your payment history, you making your payments on time. The next significant factor is 30% of your score is attributed to how you manage credit cards, right? And so if you have maxed out credit cards, 100% utilization, as we say in the funding business, that's going to lower your credit score significantly, and you're not going to be able to qualify for many financing options. And so going back to the story of my friend Bob, well, Bob thought he had great credit. He thought he was ready to go, but he actually had a 665 FICO, not a 743, just Vantage scoring. That doesn't mean anything. FICO score means everything. And so what we did is we were able to help Bob get a loan that he was able to use to pay down some of his maxed out credit cards, which was making up about 30% of his FICO score. The result was his score went above 720 after getting that loan and paying those cards down, and Bob was able to secure the financing he needed for his business at a 0% interest rate. So the moral of the story is pay attention to FICO score. If you're using a credit monitoring service, probably none better than Experian.com, and Experian.com does provide a FICO score, and a FICO score is always going to be more accurate. And so you want to pay attention to that FICO score at Experian.com. So we talked about 35% of your score is based on your payment history, you're making those payments on time. 30% is how you manage credit cards. Are you keeping those balances below 50% of the limit? If you can keep them below 30%, even better. That's going to keep your credit score very high. Next, they're going to look at, do you have different types of credit? Do you have mortgages, car loans, and credit cards? If all you have are credit cards, that's going to hurt your credit score, and that's another percentage of your credit, maybe about 15%. Then we've got another 10% that's based on your average age of accounts, right? That's why grandpa and grandma always have great credit oftentimes, because they might have a credit card they've had open for 30 years. And then the final piece to the puzzle, another 10%, is actually going to be all about inquiries and new accounts. If you open a bunch of new accounts, you're going to have a temporary reduction in your FICO score over time, as long as you make those payments on time and pay your credit card balances below 50 and 30% of the limits. Your score will go up over time, but new accounts and inquiries can have a big impact, but really it still only adds up to about 10% at the end of the day. So that, my friends, is the truth that Credit Karma and everybody is not telling you about the difference between a FICO score and a Vantage score. So at the end of the day, pay attention to your FICO score, because it means everything to you and the amount of interest or lack thereof that you'll be paying for the rest of your life. Come on back, share this with other entrepreneurs, and let's win in 2024.